So we've got the dorsal vagal, we've got the sympathetic, we've got the vagus nerve. Now, the dorsal vagal is responsible for 3 states. If you've got ADHD, hang around for this. Also, if you're neurodivergent in any way, or you just wanted to improve your focus. If you've got anxiety issues or anger issues, you want to learn about the sympathetic part of the nervous system. Your nervous system is creating your entire reality, 100%. You're essentially either living in one of these 3 states. You've got the freeze response that's connected to the dorsal vagal. You've got the fight or flight response that's connected to the sympathetic. And you've got social engagement, which is connected to the vagus nerve. Now, if you can imagine another little diagram of you. Forgot your leg. You've got your conscious mind, which is kind of somewhere around, the prefrontal cortex, where you can reason and think and plan. And there's many different areas of the brain. I'm not going to go into all of them. I like to keep things basic. We've got the unconscious, and the unconscious is kind of exists, let's just call it here, but it's also connected to the entire body. The unconscious remembers every single event in your entire life from the moment you were born, pre-birth, when you were in your mother's womb. It remembers absolutely everything, and it collects everything. And its sole job is to keep you alive. Now think about this. Every moment of every day, literally every second, your unconscious mind is scanning for threats. And it sees threats based on the information that it's been provided with. So if you were young, let's say you were hanging out in a garden, you live in a country where there's snakes, and a snake came in. Let's say mum was holding you, you were a baby or you were a little child and you were with mum. A snake came into the garden. Mum saw the snake and panicked and went in straight into either a freeze state or she went into fight or flight. Ideally, she would go into fight or flight. From that, she would either fight the snake, and if she absolutely had to do that, she probably would, because that's the mother's instinct. But the best thing in that situation would be to go into flight, which is to get the fuck away from the situation. But whatever happens, she's almost certainly going to go into an awful amount of stress, and that is what primes her nervous system in order to take action to stay alive. Now, as a child, you're learning about the world through your parents' nervous system. So if you saw the snake, you were with mum, and mum went tense, you're going to learn pretty quickly. Your unconscious is going to receive the information that snakes are terrifying. And then you could be an adult walking around terrified of snakes, but you've no idea why. That's because of that. And you think this is happening. I mean, you just need to consider how terrifying life can be as a little child. I mean, we're so easily spooked all the time. For the first 6 years of our life, we don't have this prefrontal, this reasoning brain. So our unconscious is getting filled full of stuff for 6 years based on what we're being told about the world. And once we become 6, we start to learn how to question, but we're still getting a whole bunch of stuff being put into our unconscious mind around our safety. And then now we're out, and I mean, it's not just what's going on around us, it's the stories that we tell ourselves. So if you've got stories in your head that you're unattractive or that you're not capable, you're not able to do it, it's going to be hard, because when you start stepping out of your comfort zone and trying to create your desired reality, you're going to go into fight or flight, and then you're not going to be able to feel good, and it's going to be very hard for you to create your desired reality. So your unconscious mind is constantly scanning the environment for threats, and it doesn't know the difference between a real event and an imagined event, which is why when we're not present in the moment and our minds go off to the future and to the past, when we imagine things going wrong in the future or we think about things that went wrong in the past, the unconscious mind thinks that that's happening now, which is why it sends out the signals of stress and fight or flight and freeze response, because we're imagining things going wrong, and it thinks, by you imagining something in the future, it thinks that's happening in the now. And that's why it's difficult for us to create what we want, because our mind's constantly going to how things could go wrong or how things went wrong in the past. The unconscious thinks that's happening now. Of course it's hard. So what we want to do is be able to communicate to our unconscious mind that we are safe, especially when we're stepping outside of our comfort zone. And this is such an important message. Here's you. Here is your comfort zone. And within your comfort zone are the things that you can do that are comfortable to you. So the experiences that you're currently having and all the things that you do in your life, you're essentially living within your comfort zone. And that comfort zone is linked to the vagus nerve. So long as you feel safe, you're in a state of social engagement, which is where you can connect with other people, you feel grounded, you're in your body, you feel safe, and you're living life within that comfort zone, so you're earning whatever amount of money feels safe for you to earn, that's not going to get you judged by other people and have other people disconnect your connection to other people, essentially. Now, in order for you to have what you want, so when we go back to this diagram where I talked about these things that are existing in our imagination, these things that we want, that we're not creating, those things are existing outside of your comfort zone. So more money here, maybe having a faster car or going on nicer holidays, whatever it is. Maybe finding a woman who you're deeply attracted to, that you're able to date. I don't really know how to draw a woman. Here we go. So these things are outside of your comfort zone. Now, in order to create this reality, you, like I say before, you want to imagine what it's like having the holiday, the money, the women, but also you're required to take action, because the version of you that has that is a more confident version that takes action in the world and doesn't hang about and doesn't spend his life distracting himself. So he's an action taker. He steps forward. Masculine energy is a forward momentum energy. Feminine energy is everything. Masculine energy is that penetrating focus that comes from presence, the power of presence. So you have to step outside of your comfort zone. But when you do that, when you step outside of your comfort zone, your unconscious mind, because your unconscious is saying this is safe, this is not. That's why you don't step out. But when you do step out, because your unconscious thinks you're in danger, it puts you into fight or flight or into freeze. And that feels fucking uncomfortable to you. Not only that, you haven't been taught how to regulate your nervous system and bring it into a state of social engagement, how to stimulate the vagus nerve to not experience so you don't feel under threat. Because if you did, what you can do, and this is the magic, guys. So you step outside of your comfort zone and start doing the things that you want to do. You go into a state of fight or flight or freeze. Because you're in fight or flight, you're basically, your breath is going to be shallow. Your energy is going to be up here, right? So your energy, stress pulls us up into our head. So when there's activation up in the head, we're looking for threats. If you can imagine you're under a threat, right, you're going to be looking for it. That's why we spend so much time up here, because we're in a state of fight or flight or freeze and we're looking for threats all the time. So when you step outside of your comfort zone, you're going to go into fight or flight. That's normal. And then your energy is going to shoot up, and a big part of that is because of the tension that you carry in your body, right? The tension pulls the energy up here. If you clench your legs and feet and stomach right now, you'll notice that your energy shoots up here. From here, we can't connect with people. We can't express ourselves truthfully, or we're just not confident up here, right? So you need to learn how to regulate your nervous system so your energy can come back down into your body and you can remain calm and present like those Shaolin monks, those Shaolin warriors. You can imagine them. Imagine if you had the presence, the grounding, the clarity of a Shaolin monk who's just been meditating for like hours a day, or standing in one position, going through all those hardships, right? He's not going to have a problem doing the things that you want to do. And that's solely because when stress draws us up into our head, essentially, these guys will experience stress, but they're so present, they see it happening, and when they're in fight or flight, they see it, and then they bring it back down through embodiment. They also, you see, what's happening is that you communicate to your unconscious mind that you're safe when you breathe deep. So when you step outside your comfort zone, your breathing becomes shallower, you tense up, your energy goes up here, and your unconscious thinks it's doing the right job because you're in fear, right? So it continues to do that. It's sending out cortisol, adrenaline, all of this stuff that creates anxiety, depression, all of it. Now, what you want to do is learn how to totally relax your body through embodiment and deep breathing exercises. So your unconscious mind receives the communication that this new experience in your life is safe. Once it starts to think and believe that it's safe, it will send you down into the vagus nerve. It will trigger the vagus nerve somehow. It will put you into a place of safety. And now you feel safe. You have a new experience to enjoy in your life. You have a new reality. So if you could imagine going back to the comfort zone, let's say there was a certain amount of money you wanted to earn, and your nervous system wasn't comfortable around it. You then stepped outside of your reality and started doing the things that you're afraid to do in order to make that money. And when your unconscious put you into fight or flight, rather than turning back around to safety, you learn through regular meditation and embodiment and grounding exercises to calm your nervous system down, communicate that you're safe. And now what happens, that new reality becomes a new part of your comfort zone. So for a lot of people, the things that you want that you don't have are already within their comfort zone. That's why they just do it. I mean, when you think about it, like approaching a woman in a park is such a terrifying thing for almost all men. Yet crossing a road isn't. Crossing a road would be within the comfort zone. Yet saying hello to a woman would be like way up here. But crossing the road, you could die. People die every day crossing the road. Yet doing something like saying hi to a person is so terrifying to their nervous system. And that is evidence that the unconscious is just going by the information it's received. Because the truth is, if the unconscious knew what was the true threat to your life and what wasn't, then crossing the road is going to be more likely to be outside of your comfort zone, because that could result in death. But going and saying hello to a woman is of no It's just of no threat to your life other than what you've communicated to it. So that's the message. The manifestation work, the visualization, when we bring that desired reality down into our heart, remember our unconscious thinks that's happening now. Now, if we feel a bit stressed out when we imagine ourselves doing the things we want to do, we can. So it doesn't matter about. We want to step outside of our comfort zone, but in our manifestation practice, we want to imagine a desired reality, and if we're just in our body, feeling our heart, feeling how good it would feel to have that thing, what's that communicating to your unconscious? Your unconscious is receiving that you're living that now and you're safe. You're not in a state of fight or flight. You're actually enjoying it. You're feeling sensations in your heart. That can't happen when you're in fight or flight. When you're in fight or flight, you can't really feel good. It's essentially, this is stress. Okay. You can't feel good when you're in stress. It's just not possible. And this is all linked to your emotions. Fight or flight, freeze response is linked to survival emotions. Fear, anger, pride. I haven't done them in order of frequency. I'll do that in another video. We've got apathy, lust, sadness. We've got guilt and shame. You think, like, how are you going to have the thing you want when all you're doing is experiencing heavy emotions all the time? And when you do experience these heavy emotions, you're more likely to go for the distractions. In order for you to have that reality, you need to imagine yourself in it. You need to come out of fight or flight into social engagement. And when you're here, your nervous system, your unconscious mind is like, okay, that reality is safe. And therefore, you can experience the emotions such as courage, acceptance, love, peace, and there's a whole bunch of other ones, but they're the main ones essentially. What's more likely that you're going to create your reality when you experience the heavy emotions or you experience the light emotions? Of course. If you're carrying all this fear and anger and apathy, it's weighing you down. But if you're experiencing courage, like courage is essentially the heaviest frequency or heaviest energy of all the lighter emotions. But when you're in courage, you just tap into so much inspiration and creativity that everything seems possible. And the only way to develop courage is by stepping into fear. Courage doesn't exist without fear. So whatever it is you're afraid of doing, you want to be able to step into that fear. And when the fear comes up, you regulate yourself back down to safety. Meditating every day is such a powerful way of doing this. But also embodiment and grounding. Like, again, those Shaolin monks, they have a lower center of gravity. So many men on the spiritual path these days, they're looking to open their chakras up here or their heart, and they're overly sharing and being very caring, which is nice, but they're doing it to the detriment of their lower body. They're not putting their attention and their focus down here. And so they become very feminine from their heart, but they also become very distant and hard to connect with. You meet these people all the time and they're just living up here and there's just nothing about them. As a man, you want to start coming down into your body and developing your lower body, grounding, getting activation in the legs, learning to relax the legs, cultivate energy down here. This goes back many thousands of years. I'm just regurgitating information that I picked up in my years. This stuff is real. It really works. Thanks for hanging around if you've made it this far. I really appreciate you watching this video. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments. I appreciate any likes or subscribes. If you want to apply this to your life and learn how you can essentially create the things you want and you want my help, I'll put a link in the description, and I'll see you in the next video.